So hello everybody, welcome back. I wanted to talk to you right now about cooking and the things that are related to cooking that are going to come up when you are doing this regular activity during hard times. So before I continue, I wanted to remind you that down below is my email in case that you want to help me out by sending an Amazon gift card. So thank you very much, I really appreciate that one. And here I go. I'm going to show you something that you might want to get. I do not know if you like it, but here I go. So I bought these several years ago for when I don't have space or time or whatever to cook pasta and sometimes even rice and whatever. So these things has this which is for, holding this when it is hot. This one comes off, okay? This one comes in different sizes. And it is plastic, and you can put the pasta in it, and then once you press it, and then you're supposed to put a lot of hot water, like boiling water. You boil the water for at least a couple of minutes that it has bubbles on it and everything, and then you pour it there, and then you seal it, and then this thing comes off. Let me show you so that you can drain it. See? So the whole point is that you get all the cold water or the warm water after this is done, after about 5 to 10 minutes. And then you can put the water onto a container, with no mess whatsoever. And then you can use, take it like that and consume it. It's very easy to use. So anyway, so things that you might want to consider about this topic about cooking with no heat sources and whatsoever, and having problems with the water and having problems with everything. So I'm going to tell you right now that there are two types of emergencies like this. So the first one goes when you have an emergency because, oh crap, there is no more power again. Okay, so fourth time today that we have no power. Yesterday it was 4 times as well, so great. All right. So the first one is when you have obviously a storm or something like that, and the emergency is going to be temporary, meaning you know that something came up, but you will have power and everything come back not to normal in maybe a week or so. So that is your best choice. But then you have the second one, which is that, like, let's say that you are in a war or you are in an economic problem or whatever, and then the whole system kind of collapses, and then you have to deal with this situation daily, like every single day. So the most important part, as you can tell, if you have already experienced in these things, is the mental problem, meaning you're going to be drained, exhausted, because you have to be at 3 places at the same time. You have no idea how the hell to do certain things that you will normally just do with a press of a button, like flushing the toilet or whatever. So number one, about the preparation for this, if you have time and you think that you like this idea. I mentioned this in the other videos about cleaning, and the one that I have for things that you can do for that are organic as well, because they are kind of hypoallergenic and stuff like that. So it will be you getting a container and then filling it up with white vinegar, and then you fill it up as well with as many peelings of any kind of citrus that you have. Lemon, lime, orange, and tangerine will work. Lemon is the one that works best, and orange is the one that, second best for that thing. You do all the peelings, and sometimes you can, for example, use the lemon, like half, you cut the lemon, you use half the thing, and then the peeling with everything, you just throw in there entirely. You don't have to, cut the peeling outside of the fruit per se, but you can use it, drop it there, that's it, And then you have to leave it for at least 2 weeks before you can use it. So basically every day that you do lemonade, orangeade, whatever, and then you just put it there, leave it, you count 2 weeks, and then you can have like a gallon of cleaning thing. Now, Why do you want this one? Well, let's say if you have no water and then you are, cleaning with something that is chemical, you will need a hell of a lot of water to try to clean it, from making sure that it is rinsed properly. Because when you're dealing with chemicals, you really need to take the chemicals out of that thing. But if you have this kind of degreaser, because it is a degreaser, then you can basically use this as a dishwasher, and all you need to do is spray it into the dishes, clean them, and then rinse them. But since this is organic, you do not need to rinse it a lot. You just need to use a little bit of water to rinse them. And also, at this point, if you have something that is very, very greasy or oily or dirty or whatever, you can take the lemons, the one that you put half there, and then take them and use them entirely upon the surface that you want to have degreased, and then that thing will work. Now, like I said, this is important because it will help you out a lot. Because it is organic, you can eat it, it's not going to be a problem you leaving it on in the dishes or whatever, and it smells good, and at the same time it's a degreaser. This is important to understand the fact that if you are cooking with a lot of oil, during hard times, you are going to have a harder time cleaning. So you want to try to avoid as much as possible to use oil. Now, there is also a situation that you need to consider. If you have all these problems, you have no propane, no water, no nothing, whatever, then you have to understand that you may not have trash services. If you do not have trash services available, or they are very limited, then if you are using everything disposable, you are creating a lot of trash. And if that trash is not going to be removed fast, then you are going to create a huge problem with animals and stuff like that nearby. So you need very sturdy containers for the trash. And if you are allowed to burn it, then I would suggest getting a galvanized container to burn it if you can, or if you want to, or whatever, depending upon where you are, and depending upon your conditions and stuff, because obviously, that might create a problem with toxin fumes and stuff like that. So you need to be very, very careful. But the point is that you need to figure out what are you going to do with all that trash if you are creating too much trash, especially during the long term. Because if you are producing, 100 pounds of trash every week, and the trash services only comes, once every month, then what the hell are you going to do with, 200 pounds of trash during the whole month, Where are you going to put it? It has to be locked in a secure place so that no... So anyway, now that you're dealing with the trash, you also need to try to figure out what are you going to do with the problem of not having detergent. Because quite frankly, if you forgot to buy detergent, or you don't have detergent, or you don't have money to buy detergent, or there is no detergent available, or all of the above, because, you are in a hard time and it's very difficult to get dishwasher or whatever, then you might want to consider getting sand and charcoal and putting them together into a mixture, and then you can add vinegar, or you can add clean water, and then you can use that mixture to use to scrub the dishes with that, because that will remove all kind of problems, bacteria, whatever. But if you're using that, you will require more water to rinse it, because obviously it is sand and stuff like that. So just letting you know that in advance, because the problems that you may have when you're cooking are several. Like I said, you need you need to have the spices available, you need to have the food available, you need to have the heat source available, you need to have the cooking utensils per se, meaning the pan, the stove thing to flip it and everything, and knives and hacks and stuff like that. And then you need to actually have the containers for eating, like the plates, the you know, the forks, the knives, and stuff like that. And then you need the napkins, and then you need to have a table, and then, you know, it's a hell of a lot of things that you need to try to do the cooking. And then there is the cleaning process. And then there is also, you know, the problems that you will have if you're eating without having any kinds of drinking. Because if you are eating something and then you are, you know, suffocating because you accidentally ate something, you know, the way that you're not supposed to, and then you need to remove it, and then you don't have water nearby to drink and stuff like that. So it's like I said, there are things that you never consider because you do them, you know, by heart. But if you don't do them by heart because there is a problem in any of these steps, then things can get complicated. So, several things that you might want to consider as well. You know, the first one that I will probably consider is the fact that you really want to have an electrical kettle and a regular kettle. Why? Because if you have a way for heating water, and then you can place it into a thermos and stuff, that very hot water can help you out a lot to cook and to do several things at once. And the problem with the kettle, I mean, we used to have 3 kettles. I only have 1 right now. It's not even working the way it is supposed to work, because the problem with the kettles is that they require a lot of electricity, and if there is a problem in the fluctuation of the electricity, meaning a bajón, or I don't know how to call it in English, but you know, problems with the electricity means that the kettle will be damaged. My kettle, you know, you cannot turn it on and off through the button. You have to plug it in and then unplug it to make it work. And that can be a problem. So you need to buy surge protectors for all of the electrical equipment that you have in your kitchen. Because if you do not buy the surge protectors and then something happens with the electricity, then you're kind of screwed. Also, if you have problems with power, you really want to get into the kitchen at least 1 or 2 bulbs that have 6 hours of power without electricity. You know, like the rechargeable bulbs. They work very nice, and everybody who can get those gets them for the kitchen and the bathrooms. And because, you know, well, come on, you are cooking in the middle of the night, there is no power, and it's 8 p.m. What the hell are you going to do? But if you have the electrical, the rechargeable one, you will have no problems for cooking in the middle of the night, and you can ration it. You know, if you're using it half an hour every night, you know, it will last you 12 days. So, you know, it's important to know that one as well. So, also, about other things that you might consider that are important. I have mentioned the trash. I have mentioned, you know, how to do with if there is no dishwasher whatsoever. And I think that one of the most important things that you need to understand is that it is going to be a situation that might stress you out, and it will test you, especially if you have kids. So if you have kids, you want to try to make them work with you in the kitchen if it is possible. That way you know where they are, and you know that they are helping you out. And I know it can be a problem, especially if you have never worked with children before, but it will be better than them interrupting you and then being into an accident. And it also will be better than you finding out that they are doing crazier things in the house, and then you will have to clean with no water whatsoever. So, you know, you need to involve them, or have something that the kids will do while you're cooking and while you're doing everything in the kitchen. And you want to try to boil the things in different amounts, because I've mentioned this in the other video. You know, because lesser amounts means less time and less fuel. And there are other ways to do this cooking outside, but the problem with doing this outside is that everybody will know that you are cooking. And if everybody knows that you are cooking, You might have unexpected visitors. And if you are cooking indoors, you also want to try to avoid a little bit the smell of certain cooks or certain foods, because you might attract visitors. And maybe the adults will not come, but maybe they will send, let's say that you have kids that are 10 or 11, and then their parents know that you are not going to deny food to a kid. So instead of being with them, you will have visitors for your kids, meaning your little neighbors, who is also 10 or 11 or something like that, will knock on the door and say, hey, can I play with your kid? And then at that point, you probably are going to have to cook for the kid too, and you can't say no. I mean, that's how people do here in a lot of times. When you're dealing with no food whatsoever in your house, you send your kids to your neighbor's house so that they can at least eat, because nobody denies food to kids. But so you need to take these into consideration, because if your neighbor comes and say, I need food, you might be like, oh, come on, you're an adult. But if your kid is playing with his friend, who happens to be the neighbor's, kids and stuff, then you kind of have no choice, because what the hell are you going to do? Let the kid eat while the other, what his friend is not eating? So, you want to consider that as well, because, that is what people will do, And you also might want to consider about the cooking process, the fact that you might find yourself with a fire, unexpected fire, and you need to understand how to deal with the fire if it is an electrical fire, if it is a fire that has chemicals on it, because if you put water, you might make it worse. And for that, I really, really, really suggest that you get, the fire blankets and stuff, and then you also train your kids. Because here's the deal. If the kids do not know what the hell to do, and then all of a sudden you are the one who is, hurt or whatever, you are going to be in trouble. And at this point, I will suggest that in your kitchen, you have a first aid kit filled with things that are for burns and things that are for cuts. And you have that available for kids and you. And that is easy, very, very, very easy to get. Like, the kid will not have to go, to get a chair, try to go up so that they can get it. No. Put it, if it is a first aid kit that has no medicine and no nothing that is dangerous, but just creams and just stuff for burnings and stuff, put it into a place that even a kid can grab it, okay? And I suggest that you do that in your house as well, as long as it doesn't have medicine and it doesn't have anything that the kid might actually hurt himself or herself with, So this is very, very, very important to understand, because if it is dark and you are hurt or you are falling into whatever, and then the kid is the one that can get to stuff because he or she is the one that has the lights or whatever, then you need your kid to be able to help you out. And at this point, if the kid is 5 years and more, then you need to train them a little bit about how to handle kitchen emergencies and how to handle, all these things. It's important because, things are going to happen. And you might not count on anybody else, especially if emergency services are stretched to the limit, and especially if emergency services do not have access to water and they don't have access to gasoline, and basically also because even if you have the doctors in the hospitals, but the hospitals do not have water, and then the family of the doctor calls them and say, hey, we don't have water in the house, I am pretty sure that all the doctors and the firefighters and the policemen and everybody is going to try to get to their house so that they can get water with their families, because that is what happens here. Every single person was in the streets trying to get water when we had the national power outage for a while. So if everybody's on the street trying to get water, then you need to have several things ready, and you also need to be prepared for the fact that if you are doing that, every single person is going to be doing the same. So if you go to an emergency room, you might not find as many doctors as before because they will be with their families trying to get water. And if you go to a place that requires water for working and stuff like that, they might tell you that they need water. So you might need to come up with water for them, because otherwise they won't be able to help you out with. And this is also a problem with the whole system going down. And it depends upon how long it is, and it depends upon the weather. See, right now you are cooking with no problem if you have winter, for example, because when you have very cold temperatures, foods tend to last longer. But if you are in summer, foods are going to last you less, and you will have flies, and you will have mosquitoes as well. So when you're cooking, you will have a lot of flies, you will have mosquitoes, and you will have a lot of other things that you will have to worry about. Yes, you probably won't have to, worry about, freezing temperatures and stuff like that, but you will have other problems, like how the hell do you keep the food, okay, without a fridge because there is no power, So that will be like, okay, what the hell do you do? So at this point, you really want to know where the hell is the truck services for water, because there are trucks that deliver water, and you need to have those at hand, and kind of like already establish the connection with them and stuff like that, and figure out how much money they charge and everything and stuff like that. And also at this point, you also want to make sure that you have a plan as to how to handle a power outage in a different kind of setting. Because if you are in winter, it's not the same as having autumn or spring or summer. So the seasons will affect a lot the outcome of everything that you are having to do with the cooking situation, and everything that you will have to do with the food conservation. Okay? So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thank you.